What happens when hundreds of the world's most fit and athletic people gather in Vancouver for a 2-week celebration of physical accomplishment? Let's just say it's one of the few things we can't show you here on RT. Olympic athletes in Vancouver will use an estimated 100,000 condoms during the Games, about 14 per person. Well, joining me now from Vancouver is Vanessa Richmond, writer for the Tai, an online magazine. Vanessa, thanks so much for joining me. So first of all, you wrote an article about sex at the Olympics where you said that 70,000 condoms wasn't enough at the 2000 Games in Sydney. I guess it should come as no surprise that sex happens so much at the Olympics, right?
It's always a question, actually, about just how much sex happens. But the fact that 100,000 condoms are given out is certainly a big number, and it's of a lot of interest to a lot of people. And as somebody who's written about pop culture professionally for years, it always intrigues me what stories interest people. And this number really grabs people. People really want to know what's going on. That means athletes and officials in the Olympic and Paralympic Games could need 14.6 condoms per person, and assuming they're using them mostly with each other, because it's obviously kind of a walled village, that actually presupposes 29 encounters in the 2-week period, which actually exceeds Wilt Chamberlain's rate. He claims to have the world record of 23 encounters in 2 weeks.
Wow, I guess they're trying to break more than one world record while they're out there. So, I mean, how come so many people seem so scandalized by this? Many Americans and people around the world look up to these athletes as heroes. Do they not want to see that maybe these are real people with certain desires too?
I think that's part of it, but I think we really glamorize the idea of athletes as sex icons. I think we always have. It's partly their physicality, but it's partly that sex is always something in our society that's kind of mysterious and taboo. I was talking to an academic called Jennifer Matthews, and she's actually done a kind of a related study. And she says that, I mean, in particular, it's the walled nature of the athlete's village. We just want to know what's going on in there. That's human nature. But it's also that sex itself is such a mystery. I mean, we're not interested in the number of Q-tips athletes are going through, right? But we're very interested in the number of condoms. And it's because sex is always a mystery. I mean, it's always presented as this glamorous, exciting thing, but a lot of people have questions about what's actually going on for other people. So you hear a number like 14.6 condoms and you think, am I normal? Because that's not really what's happening for me.
Yeah, I don't think the Q-tip number at the Olympic Games would have made that big of a headline. But, you know, you also wrote in your article that sexual activity affects testosterone levels, which also affects physical performance. In your article, you say that some athletes abstain from sex for as many as 6 weeks before the Games to, quote, build up. I mean, does that really help?
Well, there are a couple of theories about why so much sex might be going on. One of them is kind of an urban rumor among athletes that if you abstain, you build up your energy, you know, your vital energy, and also the testosterone, which helps you compete, and then the short pops. You've got all this kind of extra energy on your hands. But the other theory is that there's kind of a bubble that happens when thousands of young people are away from home in a place that's not there, where normal rules apply for them. They're surrounded by other really attractive people. There's a kind of a party or celebratory atmosphere. They don't know many people, so they're really meeting each other. They're in that constantly socializing mode. And it creates this kind of party bubble where there's a sense that anything is possible and the normal rules don't apply, and kind of a hookup culture can develop. Of course, no studies have been done on the number of hookups that happen in athletes' villages, but this number by health officials have arrived at it, and it does seem like a good idea given those kind of bubble factors.
Well, Vanessa, I want to thank you so much for joining me, giving light to something a little bit different at the Olympic Games in Vancouver.